25-year-old University of Florida graduate Justine Riney is taking a 6-month paddleboarding trip around the Florida coast to promote conservation of our waterways and coastline. We spoke to Justine after arriving at the Homosassa Wildlife State Park.
Oh, well, today is day 48 of 365. It's a project called Expedition Florida 500. And, last night we're coming down through the Big Bend area right now. It's part of the first 6 months, which is the coastline portion of our journey. So we started in Pensacola on January 1st, and we're making our way down the Gulf. We're going to do the Keys, back up the Atlantic side, and finish the coastal half in Jacksonville on July 4th.
How many miles total?
Oh, wow. The coastline itself, this route is about 2,500. In the second half of the year, we're doing a lot of the interior waterways, the Everglades. We'll probably add on about another 2,500 at that point. So more or less about 5,000 miles for the whole year.
And how many miles a day?
It's averaging about 10 miles a day, which is pretty conservative actually, because my main goal isn't just to paddleboard the state. Anybody could paddleboard the state. We're wanting to stop and engage with the local communities to promote conservation, raise awareness about a lot of the history. Because we're doing this in partnership with the state's 500th anniversary campaign. Ponce de Leon landed on our shorelines in 1513, so this is the 500-year mark, and we partnered with them to highlight the history, the culture, and we're doing it with this project via the waterways to promote conservation as well.
Tell us about your pack on the actual paddleboard. How much are you carrying with you?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's one of my favorite aspects actually. It's about 150 pounds of gear. And it's strapped to the deck. So it's not like a kayak where you can store a lot of it inside. It's completely exposed to the elements, and I'm completely self-sustainable. So I've got my tent, all the cooking supplies, knives, clothes, food, water, everything. So plan A is to always camp and camp primitively and live off the land. And I prefer plan B, which is engaging with the communities. We're partnered with the state parks here. So I stop at a lot of the state parks and they host me, and we raise a lot of awareness for those as well. But I enjoy staying with the community and meeting people. It doesn't do me much good to be sitting in a tent by myself somewhere when we're trying to raise awareness. So
right.
We do a lot of connecting with the local.
Tell us about the other day you fell in a couple of times.
Oh yeah, the other day the Waukesassa Bay crossing was adventurous for sure. I woke up at Kelly Creek, coming east from Cedar Key. There's a 90-degree angle before you head south, and I woke up and I talked to a buddy of mine, Brack Barker, who's a tour guide up in Cedar Key, and he'd always wanted to cross from Cedar Key to Yankeetown to cut the corner. It's about 25 miles from that point, and it's basically completely dependent on the winds because it's all open ocean at that point. So I was kind of inspired by that. I was at Kelly Creek, and I had a northwest wind, which is the ideal wind for that crossing. And, I wanted to shave a day off my time because we had a cold front coming in. So I crossed 13.8 miles to Yankeetown in open water, and it was 20 to 25 knots blowing at my back. And, at that point, whenever you got all your gear on the deck and everything, all you're worried about is flipping it, because the winds are pushing. You're going whether you want to or not. I got hit by a wave. It completely engulfed the front of my board, and it just pitched me. And you're in deep water. It's cold, yeah. So all my stuff was scattered everywhere, and you're in the middle of the Gulf, and swell and heavy winds. And I was fortunate I didn't lose any gear, but I was able to get everything back up on the board and pull myself up and keep going. But the rest of the way, it was like mile 9 I hit that, and about 5 miles of just paddling on my knees, holding my gear in place for the remainder of the trip.
And very wet.
It was. I was soaked. Yeah.
Must have been a little hypothermic almost.
I was at a certain extent. Yeah, I was worried about that. Because you have a lot of adrenaline going in those situations, and you're not mindful of that kind of stuff. And I pulled in right at Yankeetown at the boat ramp, and the stop sign was banging back and forth. The winds were really heavy, so it was kind of a cool, adventurous experience, to get across that. But you know, I'm a former lifeguard, and I'm very highly trained and all this stuff. We trained for 6 months prior to this, and we actually trained at we got caught in a couple of tropical storms and hurricanes and things like that. So I'm not concerned about the safety aspect of it at all. But it's just a fun experience to kind of mix it in.
You have a tracker. Cynthia was telling me you have some sort of a tracker that people know.
Yeah, the Secretary of State purchased a tracker for us, actually, because we're partnered with the DEP, and he didn't want me. They didn't want to stick their name on the project unless they had a firm tracking of me and make sure I'm safe. So it plots a waypoint every 10 minutes of where I'm at. I'm doing daily blogging with pictures, video, content, you name it. So you'll see 365 days of Florida if you're following our page. And a lot of people think it's like following a good adventure book.
Well, we wish Justin a safe one-year journey of paddleboarding around the state. If you'd like to follow his adventure, go to facebook.com/XF500.